So I've got this actually plays into something you didn't consider, Filthy, about the trans thing, and that is the incredible power of semen retention.
Don't know about this.
Now, see, I'll tweet out for funny Reddits, and every so often you guys message me with a real banger. And this is like, so no FAP is like just trying not to masturbate, my understanding. You know, just I beat off too much. I got to cut it down. These people are like no FAP, but they are writing huge just pages of info about how they feel that they're gaining like superpowers because they're not coming. Like literally they'll be like, and I'm walking around with a kind of Titan energy I've never felt before. And women that before would never give me the time of day, they're coming up to me. They're coming up to me. I had to tell a woman there was one I was reading. I was getting really into this retardation the other night, and I was reading it, and this guy was like, yeah, and I hadn't come for 6 weeks doing semen retention. My skin got better. I felt stronger. God, I'm so horny. But he didn't even say that. I added that. He's taking it too seriously. And he's like, and this dime piece that never would have looked at me. She came up to me at the bar. She started talking. That's his word. Came up to me at the bar. We started chatting, and she wants to come back to my place. And in my head, I'm thinking, am I going to waste my load on her? And so I tell her exactly what I'm doing with semen retention. And I see her eyes go wide with wonder. And I'm like, no, it's not wonder. It is terrified eyes. You're looking into a scared woman's eyes right now.
Not even terrified. Relieved. She is ecstatic. She's like, he told me now. Thank fuck. I don't have to go anywhere near him. We're done.
No.
We can walk away. End it at the bar.
There's a solution for all this. You explained this, bitch. Listen, I practice semen retention. I will fuck you, but I drink it. That shit doesn't leave the system. It's how you keep your power.
Yeah, he's down it again. Yeah, I drink cum for my health.
My own.
Yeah, here's the beginning of one of their posts. This is an unironic subreddit.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Did you ever wonder when you read? Sometimes I read a subreddit. I'm like, is this a joke? It's hard to tell sometimes. Okay, this is
a real one, and this is 1/15 of this guy's post.
There are 15,878 readers according to this.
Yeah, and 234 users are here now.
Yeah.
Sperm creates life. That which creates life gives you life. I'm reading it the way he writes it. If held, it summons the spirit that enters the body. Man provides the spirit, life from the heavens. Women provide the vessel, body, the material. A female's best interest is to seek the most powerful, potent sperm or spirit. It has been my personal experience. They have an intuitive way of sniffing us out. Quality sperm is like honey, heroin, and cocaine mixed together, an aphrodisiac. Their biological body is designed by God to respond near instantly to such a man with the best quality sperm. Their lineage depends on it. Logic must demand when you hold your sperm, your life, those around you will feel your life. The smell oozes from the pores in your skin. Energy radiates from within outwardly. It's a sexual aura that sends out a bat signal to women that screams, I'm virile! And man, do they come chasing. There's a lot more of this. The quality of life sperm that inhabits the body and determines the intelligence, strength, virility, and future of that child. Females seek this out subconsciously and are totally unaware. I've easily attracted women most guys would call dime pieces, but it's just normal to me. I don't get anxious because the power within me makes me very calm, collected, patient, and in control. I have sexual discipline. It is by far the most difficult challenge you will ever take on. And if you do, since most men don't, everything else in life is easy compared to not ejaculating.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
I'm going to go on a limb here. I'm going to agree with that last point. Unironically agree with that last point. Like literally mentioned, like, okay, some of my graduate work on looking at the impact of sexual arousal on people, right? Like looking into doing some studies for that, right? But also just like anecdotally, like lifetime, right? Like, like that's like sex drive's a really strong drive in me. Like that's a really large portion of drives that impact me. It's not probably not as big as like food or water or something like that, but it's like, like every time period that's fucking cycles, that's a strong urge. It changes how I look at people. changes how I interact with women. It changes how I interact with people in general, right? Like I see people differently. Like if I'm walking down a fucking street and it's and I've just come from having sex, right? I see things differently than I do if it's been a couple of days, right? I see women more, they pop out more, kind of like if I haven't had sex in a while. This is literally for me impactful. Like, value judgments aside on that, it's kind of a weird fucking thing to say, but it's a little bit out there for that perhaps. But like, so that element rides with me a little bit, like the element of like, or resonates a little bit with me, right? The idea that there is something to be said about that. Now, the rest of it seems like total fucking craziness to me, but like, I do agree
it was
that
the first
it
part
fucks
that
with your
had me
conceptions.
convinced.
Really?
How
So I don't know. Like,
viral.
I think it's something that's, and I bring it up because I think it's something that's often ignored, right? And who has ever fucking told you that? Have you ever heard anywhere from anyone ever, as a male, like growing in your life, that like, oh, your sex drive is an actual thing. It actually has ways in which it systematically changes your perception, and that this is something that you will need to deal with as a human being for all of your life.
I think everybody like has an inherent understanding of that. It's like the mermaid effect, where it's like if you're like a horny sailor who's been at sea with a bunch of dudes, anything with a pussy is going to be like, oh damn, that's great. Whereas if you're around, as this gentleman would put it, dime pieces all the time, you're not going to be nearly as convinced. And he even included a quote from the great Pratik Koli. The reabsorption of the seminal fluid back into your blood is the best nutrition your body can ever get. So control your lust and don't waste seminal fluid for short-term pleasure.
He thinks he's absorbing the cum that he's not ejaculating.
Kyle, this is coming from the Pratik Koli.
Damn it,
Actually,
Kyle.
I don't know what happens there, Kyle. Like you sound like
Your body just stops making more, just like blood.
Does it?
Yeah, if you don't bleed every day, your body's like, all right, let's just maintain this level. I mean, recycle some blood cells, but it's just being held in there.
I thought
Stored.
just
Just an Indian guy on Instagram. Stored. This isn't even. I thought he was going to be some sort of Dalai Lama type figure. No, just
am I
just
misremembering this?
The sperm
have a
cells.
shelf life?
Well, sperm is a very small fraction of semen.
Sure. So you're saying that just the sperm is replaced, you're saying?
Yeah. That's my understanding. And I've done volumes of research.
And I was gonna say, it sounds like you have. And out of curiosity, where do you think the no longer virulent sperm goes?
You pee out.
I would say that we well, I wouldn't know. I've never had any left over.
Sure. I wasn't implying that you had. I didn't mean to insult you as a human being. I understood that you drained that as regularly in this
hourly.
Sure.
Before we move on from this, I have to read this guy's posts of all of his benefits that he's got.
Oh God, is it going to read
Which one is it?
Like Marvel.com's list of
top
superpowers for an individual?
Okay.
It's Women's Reality. That's the name of the post. Hello, all. Over the past year, I've been a lurker on both Red Pill and semen retention, I guess, subreddits. I've gleaned a lot of useful information out of both. I can attribute a major shift in clean living in the semen retention forum. There's most certainly a spiritual element in a lot of the text in this subreddit, and I've had some really long streaks, so I do not doubt any of the magic spoken of here. My longest streak was 6 months ago, but I've noticed that usually a lot of the benefits begin at day 20 and slowly grow in power as the streak continues. Most notably, I've seen
Seinfeld episode about this.
Well, that's the contest. But here's his list: a glow to my skin / sexier appearance, more energy, less sleep, increased aggression, willingness to be an asshole when needed, unwillingness to be a doormat, magnetism from both men and women, magical, synchronistic connection between thoughts and reality, a more dreamlike, surreal quality of reality, increased ability to venture into higher spheres of consciousness.
What's the best?
I'm not making this up.
DMT.
Oh, did you read the next paragraph? The red pill's also been super useful to me. You lost me.
What is the red pill?
That's a female
It's like a
hating
pickup
philosophy.
artist. It's like pickup artist stuff, right? Where it's like, you got to call them a dumb bitch, and then they'll come crawling back.
I have this idea it's knowing the truth about women. I wonder how they would describe themselves.
Let's see what their number one is. Oh, it's quarantined? Yes, please. I'll pop in and say hi to these guys. There's a lot of people on this subreddit.
Yeah, this doesn't. This is
how to get laid like a warlord. Well, first you need to hop on your horse and storm the neighbor village.
Right, and maybe I'm misunderstanding this, right? But isn't the fact something like you have twice as many female ancestors as you do male ancestors, right?
Yes.
And the idea and the rationale behind it is essentially women on average, it's like half of women on average have one child, and men on average have half. But the way it works out is basically it's 2 to 0 kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like that's the way it works out.
Is-
So
It doesn't make sense to me. Am I?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you're missing it. So okay, so ready. You have twice as many female ancestors as you do male ancestors, and it works this way because basically men, when they do mate and produce offspring, they tend to have 2, and it's not all men get to do this. And if you think of apparently the way this works out is essentially roughly half the men have children, and half the men have 2 children, half the men have no children, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And women tend to average across time, have averaged 1 per roughly.
Yeah, it's
And
like an absolute dog of a woman can get laid and have a baby, whereas like a 1 out of 10 guy, nobody wants your warlord.
It's not even 1 out of 10, right? Like with numbers like that.
4 out of 10, I guess, whatever. Yeah.
Right, but the point being that's an actual sexual competition is actually something that's relevant there, right? To some degree, it's an actual drive that would make sense to have some impact of that long term from that. If those numbers are right, and I've heard this numbers quoted a couple of times, and maybe I'm misunderstanding this. Isn't something I know outside of like podcasts, so it is totally possible that that's the case. But it's funny when I see things like this because this feels like to me these read as like that group of guys that aren't having sex and aren't getting laid and aren't procreating. When I read these things, it's
in the version of this, yeah, these guys would probably agree because they're not willing to spill that magic seed.
That's right. They're powerful now, but not
so powerful.
I can't think of anything that I spend more frivolously. It's probably the thing I value least. The way I treat that stuff, it's just everywhere, anywhere.
Same here. Yeah,
all the time.
Was that what was on the refrigerator?
That was what was in the refrigerator.
It's the mayo jar.
That was the smell. I said it was old baloney, but no.
Here's why society won't tell men about this superpower.
Oh my fucking
what? Every religion of all time has said don't beat off. Like, no, but you guys are the hardcore rebels for not beating your meat. Yeah,
is this why those Catholic priests they dress like wizards? Maybe some of them have actually attained a level of wizardry. Here's a question.
Sure.
If it were true
that
you did gain powers by not ejaculating,
what type of
what
powers?
Is your next move? The powers he just listed there.
What
all
were they?
Sorts of
clean skin, like really clear skin.
You're going to get great skin. You're going to not need to sleep. You're going to be aggressive. You're not going to be a doormat. You're going to be magnetic. You're going to be magically synchronistic between thoughts and reality. And you're going to have a dreamlike, surreal quality of reality. This doesn't mean fucking anything.
Yeah.
All right. Well, set all that aside and pick a Marvel superhero.
This last one. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, fire. What was the last one?
I was saying the increased ability to venture into higher spheres of consciousness. Now, if that were a guarantee that I go 3 months retaining all my semen, hoarding the cum for myself, and then I can like start like astral projecting and seeing out my third eye.
Are you sure
I would at least spend like a week on that higher plane until I got bored of it, and then I'd come and be like, well, I've seen it, experienced it. It's probably a boring plane of existence.
You could just
There's
do some drugs and keep coming, though. You know what I mean? Like drugs are cheap. Trust me.
That I'm gonna make a post on this subreddit saying, why don't you guys just beat off and do drugs?
Yeah, try drugs, meditation, and sex. Those 3 things will cure whatever this is you're doing.
Yeah. No, you're wrong, Filthy. This isn't NoFap. NoFap, I think, according to this post, says you can fuck and come. This is no sperm for your lady. Nothing at all.
I believe with maybe there's some sort of tantric technique for orgasming without ejaculation. Now that if these guys were for real, that's what they'd be all about. No. All right, so that's ejaculating without using manipulation with your hand. What I'm referring to is orgasm without ejaculation.
So these guys are all using dildos on their prostate.
No. Again.
No to who?
Orgasm without ejaculation.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I don't know what your memories are for masturbation, but I remember that as a kid, being young enough.
That
to
was before
masturbate
you could
prior to
produce
orgasm,
ejaculate.
before ejaculation. Yeah,
Yes, but I'm
That was
talking about
great.
as an adult
A lot
man. I
less
feel like this
messy.
has
Yeah,
become
it
difficult
was.
for people to wrap their heads around.
I didn't know that stage existed. Fuck.
really? All right,
Really?
that sucks. I remember
Yes.
that. I remember being.
Oh,
Very,
I got
very
so much
upset.
beaten and done prior.
Yeah.
Before, like I.
Were you
Blood
pissed,
came out
Taylor?
one
I was
time.
pissed when I became old enough that like ejaculate was part of that.
Oh, I still
I'm like,
remember
this
the first
fucking
time.
sucks.
I was like laying in my bed at like 11 or something, like 11 or 12, I don't know. And I was
That
just
was a good
doing
way
my-
to get to sleep.
Yeah, dude, that was the best way. It was like, oh, it's bedtime, and I was like, oh, you bet it's bedtime. Time for me to go play with my dick. And it was. I remember once just doing it in my bed, playing with my dick. I was 11 or 12, and then finished, and I felt all the wetness, and I was like, oh, guess I just peed a little, and then went into the bathroom. It was not pee. It was white and gooky, and thank God I just wiped it off and went back to bed and didn't like walk into my parents' room with just a lot of Spider-Man looking goo.
Mom,
Dying.
I don't know what this is.
I think it's ectoplasm. Are we haunted?
All I know for sure is it's salty.
It tastes like bleach. Yeah, yeah. That was, man. That would be so nice if you could control your orgasms that way. To Kyle's point, where it's like, you know what? I'm just having a beat off, just trying to fall asleep. No cum tonight. And then other times it's like, oh, I'm ready to just release all of my spirituality. You know, it'd be pretty great. Much more convenient.
Yeah. I like
Suffice
calling
to
it
say, I don't.
spirituality. That's a good one.
I'm not lending a lot of credence to what these guys are preaching.
Yeah,
They're probably just ahead of their times.
I would go with no credence whatsoever.
Yeah.
Those are some insane people on the internet.
What are you talking about? We have twice as many female ancestors as male ancestors, but half of our male ancestors were fucking wizards. Oh wait, no,
Yes.
they weren't, because they didn't get the
Yeah.
pass on their genes. The half that aren't our ancestors were wizards.
You ever done a
Yeah.
DNA test?
I haven't.
Hmm.
What for?
Just see your
Just for fun.
ancestry.
Yeah, Kyle did. He's
Scottish, I'm
very
guessing,
Irish.
English on both sides of English and then French.
Okay.
Both sides of my family.
Ooh.
Irish on my mother's side.
Yeah, I'm like 4% Neanderthal.
Okay.
It's good
Yeah.
numbers.
Yeah,
Got to pump those numbers up.
I gotta find a hunchbacked Neanderthal lady out there somewhere and just
I'm gonna
keep.
find myself a big browed bitch.
Yeah,
Like Neanderthal babies. They're gonna be
Really?
so good at sports. That'd be great.